everybody, hope you're having a great weekend. I've been playing a whole lot of games lately on one particular system. One of these mini systems I actually got a while ago. Just haven't come up on here and talked about it, and get to spend a whole lot of time with it until about 2 weeks ago. I started really playing through this when I finally had time to sit down and finish Nocturne on the PS4. Really got into playing a lot of games on the system. That is the PC Engine Mini. And this is fantastic. I'm super happy I was finally able to grab the system when it was announced. I really wanted it. Just kind of waited for a while. I imported this from Japan. There are a couple different models. You can get this version, which is more like the original release of the system, the Turbo Duo, the kind of blue and gray colored one, and in the US you can get the TurboGrafx style. And why I really wanted this one in particular, why I waited to grab this one when I get my hands on it rather than the North American release, is that unlike the other things like the NES Classic or the Genesis Mini or even the PlayStation or whatever, where for those every region got a different kind of collection of games. In this, they just gave everybody everything. Doesn't matter which one you get, they all have every game. On the back here, all the Japanese releases, all the North American releases, so a bunch of them that are in Japanese, but a lot of them are arcade games and things, so it doesn't really matter. Only a few games like Snatcher and stuff like that where it really would matter with the reading. And then all the games on the bottom here be the ones in English. And I'm really happy that this exists, because this is the kind of system that I never saw physically ever back when this was actually out. It was just not a thing where I am. Never knew anyone that had one, and it was a system I was always interested in. I actually had a handful of games, particularly CD games, that I just kind of found over the years, and I kind of gave up on ever collecting for the system because, as you know, retro game prices are insane, and I just don't feel like paying for some of these like $100 for a platformer that I'm gonna have fun with for a few hours. Just it goes along with the pattern of just retro gaming is too much. So I ended up selling the few games that I had for the system and grabbing this, and I'm super happy that I did. It's one of those things where it's a little sad that I'm enjoying it so much and there's no way to get the original releases of the games, but the happy thing is I can play all these games, and I'm very excited to really enjoy this. Here's a look at the system itself, and again, I wanted this particular version because going with the three different ones, you had the TurboGrafx. I had no attachment to it because it wasn't a thing around here, so I really wanted to go with the original look of the PC Engine, and because the original console was so tiny to begin with, there's not a huge difference in the size of this mini, this classic system, and the original system, so it's really kind of cool, and it functions really well. Comes with one wired controller in the original style, and then I also bought this 8-bit Duo. This is a wireless controller. I've not had a chance to play with this around too much, but I'm definitely going to check it out, and it's great for the number of multiplayer games that are available on there. So I've been playing a whole lot on here. I've been getting into, lately, Ysbook 1 and 2. I played some Bonk and Bonk's Revenge and Splatterhouse and a bunch of different shooters and action games, and just kind of been playing through everything and loving it. I'm going to get an insane number of hours of just pure fun from here, and it's a great way of just being able to access a really cool piece of 80s, early 90s Japanese gaming in particular, and without spending a ton of money. And there are a couple games in here that are fully in Japanese that are very reading heavy. So even if you have just kind of a basic understanding, it might be a little much, to where thankfully there are some English guides out there, like Tengai Makio 2 is on here, Far East Dividend 2, I want to try that out. I'm pretty sure I can find a guide for that. And Snatcher, obviously, since it was released in English on the Sega CD, I will be able to use either videos, guides, whatever, to work my way through that. So finally able to play that game, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've just been having a great time. Right now, again, I'm playing Ysbook 1 and 2 and loving that. And it's a great little collection. It's definitely a system that, if you have never gotten into the PC Engine, but you really like games from that time period, NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, that type of thing, check this out. It's a great collection, a great combination of games from that era. It's one of the better collections of games that I've seen for these classic collections, these minis, especially because you get everything. There are a handful of overlaps where You get both the Japanese and English version, but a lot of them are unique ones. And again, there's so many different kind of arcade games like Bomberman and that kind of stuff to where it's not, the language issue is not really actually a barrier. It doesn't really matter. Yes, in Castlevania, I mean, just there's so much on here. Loving it, and it's kind of thing that, like, yeah, it would have been awesome if I had grown up with this system, but I didn't. So thankfully, we have things like this to explore and have fun.